It's a pretty good day today. I hope everyone's having a as good of a day as I'm having. And if you're not, then hopefully it will be better now that we're sitting down and having some time to sit, because that always tends to help. Nadia, hey, nice to see you. Did everyone have a good weekend? We had the stomach flu, like vomiting. The kids, they have this thing in Sweden. I think it's kind of a Scandinavian thing, where the kids got a stomach virus and they just vomit. And you vomit. Usually it was bad, but not that bad. Like, you'll vomit once every hour, and it seems to always happen at night. And it's not because you eat something, it's some kind of flu, and then you vomit, and it's incredibly contagious. If one has it, then everyone will get it. And at daycare, they've actually, last year they had to close down some daycares in where we live, because it was just so bad that they couldn't get rid of it, because one gave it to another and then to another, and it just kept going around, and it's pretty tough. And if one person in the family has it, then very likely everyone's going to have it. Fortunately, my fiance is Dutch, and for some reason, it seems that Dutch people are mostly immune to it. It's more we Scandinavians, so a bit unfair, but very nice, because then she can take care of us, which is nice. But now we're all better, so yeah. The nice thing about being sick also is that once you've had that feeling really, really bad, and you can barely, nothing works, and you feel so terrible, then when it's gone, it's this relief, and it's like, wow, it's so amazing to feel good again. Then you really appreciate how nice it is to observe and just be alive. Hey Mats, nice to see you. That's the advantage of being sick, because it always gives that kind of I'm not going to say afterglow, but it's always nice when you get out of the tough part and you actually start feeling like yourself again, because then you notice how it's pretty nice just to be you. But then of course you start doing all the things that you do normally, and then you forget about it, and life gets tough again. I used to always say that a big part of appreciating life is contrast. It's seeing contrast. When we see the same thing every day, we tend to not appreciate it. But then when you take that away and then you replace it with something else, you're like, oh, I missed that. Or I so want that back. Or if you go into something that's bad and you had it, if you go into something good and you had it bad before, then you really appreciate that for a while until you get used to it. Is it Monday? Yeah, it's Monday today. Cool. Does anyone have any topic they think of? I feel, like I said, we've been sick this weekend, so I'm not really at the top of my game. But if anyone has any subjects they want to talk about, yeah, Mats. Do you have any tips on distortions which feed on stress, and then the stress feeds the distortions? So you have something that is creating a pressure or a distortion towards something that needs to be done. And then the stress feeds the stress makes the distortion even worse. It's like you start feeling bad about feeling bad, and it kind of goes, well, actually it doesn't go up, it starts going down. Yeah, that's, first thing is to just realize that you're doing it. I used to do this a lot myself, where I would feel bad and like, oh man, I shouldn't be here. I should be somewhere else. I should be over there. Like if it was something that I was trying to do, or financially something I thought I should have and we didn't have, and then I'm like, okay, I shouldn't be here. I should be over there. And then I felt bad. First I felt bad that I wasn't over there, but then I felt bad because I knew I shouldn't feel bad. So I shouldn't feel bad about feeling bad. And then it gets worse. So the first part is actually realizing, hey, wait a minute, like I'm actually doing this thing. Could you give me some more information about what it is you're stressful about? Is it an event, or is it exactly? It's like if I just could chill out, yeah, then everything would be all right. But I just get caught in my stress over and over again, even though I notice it. Okay, so well, The first thing is like you say, hey, my name is Mats and I'm an stressaholic. You accept that you have a problem, kind of, because there's a lot of people who don't see that as a problem, who actually believe that it's good because it motivates them and it will drive them to to achieve or whatever it is they want to do. So that's like the first part. But then, of course, just because you notice it doesn't mean that it goes away, even though you notice that you're hurting yourself. And I think, yeah, I said a little bit more info on what it is. Is it something outside your control, or is it something within your control, or is it something that happened, or something that's going to happen? Or are we talking about deadlines or a situation? Hey, Mindful Mama, nice to see you. What kind of stressful situation is it? Because it varies a little bit how you want to approach it. I mean, sometimes you just, let's see, I have to take some courses at trade school. They are very easy and it's quite a relaxed setting, but it still makes me jittery. But I also have a bad history with schooling. Okay, so then it's very likely not about the work just in and of itself. It's something that you have a distortion from the past that kind of creates this tension. So I'll try to give some examples. So wait, what do I have? I used to have my first girlfriend, my first serious girlfriend that I really hopelessly fell in love with. She cheated on me and she was with someone else. And the pain from that was so intense that it kind of ruined my next 5 relationships. Or actually, I can't actually remember right now how many I had after that. But my relationships after that were ruined because of this first girl, because I had so much distortion and fear about being dumped, about finding out that she was with someone else. So the anxiety and stress of being cheated on was, it just made me ruin the relationships before they even happened. So I couldn't actually handle that because it was so strong, the distortion towards the back. And I don't think I ever really came over that. I think I always had that with me, meaning that I just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to make it work now. And I kind of went into it, but I always had this fear of that happening. And either I made sure it didn't work, or I was just feeling miserable from the not jealousy, but the worry that it would happen again. And then I remember clearly when this really started changing. That was a bit after I talked sometimes about how when I discovered this whole distortion system, when I had this basically like mental breakdown, and I said, oh, it's okay if I end up in the mental asylum. I don't care. Like it's fine. I can't fight this. And all that pressure towards the fear, the aversion towards going there just dropped away. And I thought, oh, wait a minute. This is incredible. Like I just dropped this part of me that is pushing towards not becoming a mental basket case. And I was okay with that. It didn't mean that I was not going to get into that situation or that I had solved it. It just means that I no longer had in other words, like you're saying, the stress is making the stress worse. So that stress just made it very difficult for me to function in a relationship. And after I found this thing out with the distortion and the thing when I was going like just basket case, then I thought, okay, I'm going to pull the other things up. And I was sitting and I thought about an ex. And there was a situation that happened when she worked as a model somewhere, and she disappeared for a while, and it was just really odd, some of the things around it. No, it was nothing. Like, she cheated on me. Like it just like popped in my mind while I was sitting on a cushion in Malaysia meditating. What, like 10 years later, then I'm like, oh my God, she cheated on me. How could I be so naive? How could I be so dumb that I didn't see this? I felt the grip on my chest, like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's like I did not care about her at all. Like 10 years later, that was gone, but I still felt the pressure, like you're saying now, you have it towards school. There's this aversion or pressure towards it. So I sat with that and I felt, what does that feel like? And I could just kind of like, oh, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, oh no, this is wrong. She shouldn't have done this. It's son of a like this. And then eventually I was like, okay. It was, I usually describe it because it felt quite tangible. It felt like I was walking around and I could just let go of all of it and feel okay. But I don't want to, because she did this and that's not fair. You shouldn't treat someone like that. Son of a, like calm down a little bit again, and like, oh, I can't. And then eventually it just snapped. And like, oh, she cheated on me. I actually never asked her about it, but it's quite clear that she did. And then all that distortion towards that was gone. It came back again a few days later, when, or maybe weeks later actually. But if it was this much before, now it was down to this much. 60, 70% was gone. It's just something smaller. Today I don't get anything of that at all. And I'm very fortunate that I'm in a relationship where I just don't worry at all about that. So facing that distortion, that was a long story to describe what I was trying to say, but facing that distortion, that fear of something that is difficult for you. For you, it has something to do with school. If we would have worked together, like what I normally do is like we do some kind of practice where we bring that up without actually being in the situation. So you could watch a movie. I call it movie meditation. You basically sit down, start meditating, getting calm and letting go of all the distortions, and then you start the movie. And it should be obviously a movie about going to school and something terrible happening at school. So you could feel this, oh, I don't want to be there. And then you just pause it and you look at this and you see like, hey, what is happening here? Like, why am I making myself suffer? It's just on the screen. Why am I feeling bad here? So the second step after realizing that it's a problem is starting to see that you're kind of having this, what that problem feels like, the distortion. And while you're doing that, you turn towards your senses. You're trying to just see, just feel, just hear, just enjoy being there, and really try to enjoy while you're looking at this thing that you find difficult. Just enjoy sitting there and just enjoy, not the story or like whatever happened, but enjoy the colors of the screen, like enjoy breathing, how nice it is to breathe, and maybe you're comfortable, maybe it's warm, maybe you have some really nice fabric on you that feels nice. Just enjoy being there, even though there's something that's difficult. And you'll feel that when I was doing this and I was kind of snapping in the middle and letting go of the whole story with the ex that cheated on me, when you do that, every time you break that, it's like that distortion gets kind of a bit less. It's not so strong anymore because you've seen like, hey, wait a minute, I don't need to do this because you're doing it. It's not someone else or some vast power outside of you that is doing this. Like, you're the one creating this friction, this pressure, and you have the power to let go of it. It's just that we're not used to doing that, because who would I be? Who would I be if I didn't feel bad? If I didn't worry about going to school because I don't know if something happened to you, if you just hated being at school, if some teacher mistreated you. My father hated the church. He absolutely abhorred church because he was into watching birds and nature. And he had raised his hand in a class and said, like, yeah, the Bible is wrong because the bat is not a bird. It says in the Bible that the bat is a bird. It's actually a mammal. And then he had to put his fingers up on the desk and they smacked him. And there was something else like that. So he had this strong thing for the rest of his life because of one teacher who did this to him that changed his life and his relationship to it. And he obviously thought they were just idiots, all of them. He never got the chance to actually look at this and see the distortion and be able to let go of it. So I'm not sure if I even gave you an answer, but basically, yes, you're right. Stress on stress is difficult. Do something to start looking at it. I advise what I call movie meditation, actually watching a movie and turning towards your senses and enjoying and appreciating. You could even enjoy the fact that there is school. Like, then we're talking about gratitude, which would be nice also. Like, you can do that, but I focus more on enjoying the senses. So, yeah, did that help at all? Or was that just like a ramble? Let's see, Nadia. My 9-year-old daughter likes meditating with me. She falls asleep. Is it okay for her to meditate? Oh, absolutely. Of course it is. Yeah, my 5-year-old daughter, she meditates with me as well. I usually sit downstairs. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. You were dumb for thinking that. I sit downstairs and she comes down. Used to, not so much anymore now because she started sleeping in, but she used to come down when I was sitting and she'd just sit in my lap and I'd wrap my arms around her. And we'd just sit there and meditate, and she would just say she'd meditate. And now in the morning when her brother and her sleeps in the same bed as our mother, and sometimes when he's really annoying, she said like, okay, you leave me alone, I need to meditate a little bit. She sits and meditate. So absolutely, there's no problem. Meditating is just focusing your mind, using your mind and not letting it run all over the place. So yeah, there's no problem with that. Good you asked though. I think there's even... I've seen meditation. I mean, I've done meditation for kids as well, and I've seen meditation courses and stuff for kids as well. They do it a bit less with the concentration, not so hard, and it's more just like visualizations and stuff like that. Most of the meditations I see for kids. That's really nice. It's a nice thing to share with your kid. Hey Jethro, nice to see you. See Mats is saying, it did help, thanks. I was wondering if you have any advice on how to practice while being in the stressful situation itself, e.g. trade school tomorrow. The best thing to do is to prepare, like meaning that I like to do things where you subject yourself to the distortion without being in the situation, because then when the situation actually comes, you've already been looking at this distortion, so you kind of know what it feels like. But if it's something that is tomorrow, then I like to fall back on just breathing meditation. So when the difficult thing comes, I just stay really centered here, and I feel my breath. That's kind of like the anchor, and then don't feel bad about using concentration meditation to just calm yourself down and like ignore that you have all these just ignore them and just focus and just use meditation as a tool to calm you down. And then also it can help, I mean, there's other, if you go into personal development stuff, there's other things you can do, but yeah, in general, it's useful to know that what you're going to go through tomorrow is actually really helpful for your practice. The problem that happens is not a problem actually, but the thing that happens with people who just feel good generally is that they don't really see the reason to do what we're doing here because they feel good. There is no reason to meditate to overcome the self, to work with distortion, because it's just so minor for them, or they feel that it's normal to have it. So the fact that you'll feel it so strongly, that means that you'll actually see, oh my goodness, what the heck? Like, why am I doing this? I hate this. This is not nice. And if since you've been here quite a lot, and I know you've been looking at this, can separate and see, okay, it's not actually that I need to change the situation. It's that I need to relate differently to this. It's my problem. I need to take responsibility, might not be the wrong word, but like I need to change how I perceive the situation and how I distort towards it. Again, not blaming you for whatever difficult stuff is happening outside, but I'm giving the responsibility for your distortion towards it. That's within you to control. It might be that other people have told you how to react, and people did things to you that make you react in a certain way, but that doesn't matter. Right now, this is what you're experiencing. And one more small thing is that throughout the day, as you're going there, do the same practice. It's basically I say I have 3 steps, but the first and the second, they go the same. Focus on enjoying. As you're going to the trade school, enjoy just feeling, looking out. Don't sit and think about, oh my God, I'm going to come here. No, like on the bus ride, just enjoy sitting on the bus. It's nice sitting in the bus. Look at people, look at the road passing by, feel the smells. Some nice, some not so nice, and maybe talk to a random person on the bus. That's a really good way to distract yourself, and just enjoy being there. And then when you go to the trade school, just focus on this moment, what is happening right now, all the time. And if you do that the whole time, you would never really be at trade school as a difficult situation. It's just you getting on the bus, getting off the bus, walking, you going up to a door, opening the door, going inside a room, going to the desk, whatever you're doing, and it's basically the salami method. You slice it up, so you just have to deal with one thing, not this whole story. Yeah, I hope, like I said, there's this you're asking very good questions, and I know that you're susceptible to good answers, so that makes it even more difficult for me to just say something, but this is something that we could unpack a lot and look at how that works for you and break down like the different parts when it comes. But the main thing is like, okay, it's not much you can do now, but really, if this is something that you find difficult, then work with that. Like, take that up and look at that. And I've had people who had anxiety about certain places, and I would have them go there with someone in the car and just sit there and eat their breakfast just outside this place to practice doing that. You can also see if there's something that would make it less, if it's the agoraphobia of seeing all the people. When we worked with kids who didn't go to school, we would let them go in the back way, or they would like hide so no one could see them. Okay, I could go on forever, but let's do the meditation. Mats, very useful, thanks. I will try that tomorrow. Good, I hope it helps. So, Today it's Monday, and today it's guided meditation. And the way we normally do is we have 20 minutes or so in the beginning. Used to be 5, it's a bit longer now. Where we just discuss if people have questions or thoughts that come up. And then after that, we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, which is a method where we say out aloud 5 things that we can see, 4 things we can hear, touch, 3 things that we can hear, 2 things we can smell, and 1 thing that we can taste. And the whole idea is to do that without the pressure from the self. In other words, I could say dislike or like, but that would make people believe it's a concept. It's actually a feeling. I like this, I don't like this. Not doing that. Instead, enjoying just what it looks like to see things, to see the texture of the sofa, to see the warm red light spilling out here, and you'll see that shadows are beautiful, textures are beautiful, surfaces are very nice, and you also see that your 3D vision tends to disappear because 3D contains, well, there's perspective, but there's also part of 3D vision that contains distortion. You can feel like there's something behind there, and that will disappear, so it will feel like it's kind of flat, and not in a bad way, in a very relaxed way. So just see things as they are without you getting in the way, making it fuzzy when you're trying to see. After that, we sit for 20 minutes, and today it's Monday, so I'll be guiding you. And then after that, if anyone has any more questions, it's open for questions and answers. And you're very welcome to ask questions about the meditation. Lately, we haven't been talking so much about meditation in specific or things that come up for people, but I mean, it's open for discussion, whatever you feel like. Simon from Mama says, I like this new setup. First to talk, then sitting, mostly after I'm too tired or want to keep sitting. Yeah, and after, absolutely, if you feel like sitting, just keep on sitting. There's no reason to stop your sitting just because I happen to stop the meditation. So, say it out loud with me if you can. 5 things that we can see. I can see a braided cable. And really take the time to see, not just say it out, but like look at the thing you're looking. I can see a golden stripe. I see a pair of sheepskin, what do you even call those? Not socks, not shoes, but these comfortable winter inside shoes. I see a metal rod. And I see light, blue light. There was 5 things that I could see, and I would take 4 things that we can feel. I can feel the brass of the bell and the texture in it. And really explore your senses. We tend to just, okay, this here, it's going like, have you seen how a child feels like when they do things? They go, ooh, oh, this is nice. This feels nice. And then they lick it just to feel, okay, I'm not going to lick it now because it would taste bad. But just, they want to explore with their senses. They want to see, what does this feel like? Oh, that's interesting. That's cold. I can feel cold on my chin. Yeah. I can feel the paper of a paper carton box. And I can feel moisture of my tea. That was 4 things that I could feel. After that, we take 3 things that we can hear. And here I always say, listen for nuances in the things you're hearing. I mean, if it's just one sound you're hearing, just take that one. But if you hear a sound many times, there'll be a pattern in the sound, or there will be like a clang to it, or you can see more detail in the sound. Really try to listen. And also don't do, I'm here, I'm listening, and create attention towards it. That's creating more distortion. Try to have an open feeling, a sense of, I'm not going to say be everything, but just a sense of not just being here, but just a wide feeling, and listen what you can hear. I can hear the wind against metal. I can hear a fly flying around in here. I can hear the cracking of the bones in my spinal cord. After that, we do two things that we can smell. And now we need to really focus, because it's a bit more difficult to even use our sense of smell or taste. Many people yet just don't use it. Oh, I smell metal that has been wet. A copper that has been wet. Smell a little bit of dampness also. Finally, we take one thing that we can taste. Yep. You can taste bad breath. So for this meditation, we'll be focusing on our breath. So I want you to bring your awareness to your breath as it's happening inside of you. We're not trying to control the breath. We're not trying to slow it down or speed it up. Not trying to make it deeper or even shallower. We're just trying to let breath happen by itself with as little input as possible from you. So just start focusing on your breath in a wide area over your chest, or your whole head, or even just your upper torso, and the feeling of breath happening, that actual physical sensations. If you want to think about how to use your awareness, think of it as a flat palm rather than a pointed finger. We want a wide sense of what's going on inside of us. We're not trying to tie our awareness or our sense of self into a knot that we can then project, but rather we're trying to dissolve this centered point into a wide feeling so we can be aware of what's happening inside of us. And as we do this, it's so easy to let the mind and past and future distortions come in and say, Well, you can't just sit here and observe the breath. You need to figure out the problem that's going to happen tomorrow. This big thing we're going to run into, or next week we have that giant project we need to return. We need to think about that. We should meditate and think about the solution, and then maybe we can solve it. Or maybe someone hurt you badly in the past and you're still hurting from that. And every time you close your eyes, you keep having that come up. And you feel the pain, you feel the distortion, you feel the pressure. For the next 20 minutes, ask yourself if it's okay to just put all of you on pause. Give yourself permission to just do this one simple thing of focusing on the breath, and let all the problems and worries of the world stay on hold for the next 20 minutes. And as you do so, we keep on observing the breath as it's happening inside of us with a wide sense of awareness. To make this process a little bit easier, we have a technique where we count our breaths from 1 to 8 and then down again from 8 to 1. And I will do it together with you the first time, and then you can continue by yourself. So counting your breath, we breathe in and breathe out. 1. Breathing in, breathing out. 2. Breathing in, breathing out. 3. Breathing in and breathing out. 4. Breathing in, breathing out. 5. Breathing in, breathing out. 6. Breathing in, breathing out. 7. Breathing in, breathing out. 8. Breathing in, breathing out. 7. Breathing in and breathing out. 6. Breathing in, breathing out. 5. Breathing in, breathing out. 4. Breathing in, breathing out. 3. Breathing in, breathing out. 2. Breathing in and breathing out. 1. Continue to count your breath from 1 to 8, and then down again from 8 to 1. As you breathe in and breathe out. 1. Breathing in and breathing out. It's easy to accumulate tension when you sit. Maybe you're clenching your jaws together. Very common is to have your shoulders tighten up. Your arms or hands, even your legs can start pushing. So even though it's calm, serene to sit still, you can gently move your body just a little bit to let go of any tension that you have. Continue sitting with your eyes closed. Continue focusing on your breath, but do small movements to make sure that you're not pushing your shoulders up or biting your tongue or whatever you're doing. Just let go of any tension you might have as you continue to observe your breath as it's happening by yourself while you're breathing in and out. 1. Breathing in and out. The whole reason for everything that I talk about is to help you enjoy being here, being you, experiencing your reality, not your idea what reality should be. The stories you tell yourself about what the world has done to you or should have done to you or didn't do to you or did to you. Instead, it's about learning to just be, to just enjoy experiencing your life rather than the story of your life. And as you meditate, like we do now, think about what it was like when you were younger. When it was a bright summer day, you had all the world at your feet and you could do anything you wanted. I used to call it happy feet because I felt it in my stomach, this flittering, joyous, happy, warm feeling of, oh, today is going to be so much fun. And there's just a lightness. There's not the, oh, this is going to be difficult, we're going to have to think about that, and that's going to be expensive, or we should or shouldn't do this, or I'm going to have to get up. And there's all these things that come into play when we grow older. But when we were younger, it was easier. I want to do this, and that's fun. Let's do it. That feeling of lightness and enjoyment, happiness, also peacefulness. When you're enjoying being here, there's no reason to hurt anyone else, to be angry, to be violent. We're just enjoying whatever we're experiencing. So as you sit, let that feeling of childish enjoyment, happiness, and appreciation of just being, not because of what's going to happen, not because of what just happened, but because of just being and experiencing your senses. As you continue to focus on your breath while you're breathing in and out. One, breathing in and out. if you decide to open your eyes, you're also welcome to keep them closed and just keep on meditating. But if you decide to open your eyes, then as you open them up, look around you and just look at things like we did in the beginning with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. Really look at things. Just see things around you. See the reflections, see the shadows, texture, shapes, surfaces. Listen for sounds. With the same wide awareness you had as you were meditating. And then, if you want, you can drink a cup of tea with me. Ask any questions you like. We're not going to be too long today because, well, we were quite long before, so it's getting late. And I need to go to work tomorrow. Nadia said, the meditation seems to pass so quickly. Yes. Time is interesting. Time is such a vital part of enjoyment, of being happy. And the problem seems to be that we just suck at experiencing time. We're really, really bad at understanding how time feels. So, when you experience non-centricness, as I call it, when you don't feel a sense of center point, some people call it non-duality. The problem I have with that is that they then say they identify with something bigger than themselves, which is still a center point. It's just wider. I'm talking about when you can't actually feel any pressure towards anything when you're seeing things happening around you. It's just things happening. A key aspect of that is time. It feels like time stops. It feels like time, there's no movement in time. Time doesn't pass. Time doesn't come and go. It's just now. Just this moment, and it's just always this moment. It's a changing moment, but it's just the same moment. It really doesn't feel like there's a past or future. It's just now. And the benefit of that is that so much of our distortions is towards things in the past or things in the future. And we push against the thing that's going to happen tomorrow, or we pull or push against the thing that happened in the past. And that makes it so we feel like, oh, I'm kind of, imagine if you had a infinitely thin line that was moving on this two-dimensional finger, and it just moves like this. Like if you would be experiencing it correctly, it would just be this infinitesimally thin line moving. But the way we feel it is like this. We're feeling the whole area, we're feeling the thing that happened in the past, and then it's like we kind of going like this, and there's all this movement, which is why when people experience these non-centric states, they say, oh, it's so quiet. It's so quiet. It's like the whole world stopped. It's because this movement of time disappears. So when you say the meditation passes so quickly, what happens is that you're no longer pushing against the past or pulling towards the future, or pushing and pulling towards either side. You're just experiencing. So then it feels like time flies when you have fun. That's like a saying, and that's really true. When you're really enjoying doing something, it doesn't feel like time is passing, because time isn't actually passing the way we believe it's passing. It's absolutely changing, but it's not moving. Meaning you can't feel the movement, you can't feel the passage, but it isn't ever evolving just now. Just new stuff keeps coming up, and it's fascinating to just see this stuff come up. And when we meditate, we tend to use our minds in such a way that it's easy for the mind to just see all these things coming up and enjoying just the things that come up. Let's see, Mats is saying, when an object of distortion comes up in meditation, what do I want to do with my mind exactly? Just refocus on the breath, or trying to notice the distortions in a non-judging, open way? Very good question. So what do we do when we're sitting and we're meditating and we feel, oh, there's a strong distortion towards something? The main thing is to be able to enjoy your senses no matter what's coming up. And what's going to happen is, say that you have this thing that happened that's really, oh, I feel so bad that happened. And then you try to, if you open your eyes, okay, now we're talking about meditating, but you can see this when you're really worried about something. You're not looking clearly. You can see it in people's eyes. That's a whole other topic, but your eyes are really tied into how your mind is working. And you can see how you're not seeing clearly. You're not really looking at the thing there. It's like you're kind of defocused. You see this in young people who stand in cash registers. Like, they're not there. They're just like somewhere else. And it's the same thing with this. Like, you defocus your eyes. You're not really seeing clearly. So one of the things you could do is even to open your eyes and see, am I looking clearly at the thing in front of me? Or can I feel clearly what's happening to me? Or am I in this kind of smeared out state when I'm not really experiencing this moment? So it's about turning towards joy and then happiness and appreciation. And when you do that, the mind is going to say, no. You're not allowed to enjoy now. Are you kidding me? Do you know what just happened to you yesterday? We can't feel good now. You're crazy. They did this to us, or they're going to do this to us. I'm going to have to do that. You can't enjoy this moment. You can't enjoy just being here. No, because that's going to happen. And then when you try to refocus and just enjoy anyway, the mind is going to come in, and it will feel like a struggle. And there is a time when it's worth going into looking into what's actually happening. Like, where is this coming from? What's coming up here? But most of the time, it's just a matter of turning towards happiness and enjoyment and appreciation of being here, of being alive. Feeling that feeling of like, I'm sitting here, but I don't want to be here. I want to be over there. I want to change something there. This moment is not okay. Because whatever you have a distortion towards basically pushes you to move out of where you are. It says, you're not okay, Mats, the way you are now. But if you would move a little bit over here, then it would be okay. Or something happened in the past. No, I need to distort a little bit about that so that I can feel better later. So the breath can be a tool for that, but the problem with the breath is it's just a focusing point. We want to really experience our senses, which is why I say keep a wide area of focus and just feel this distortion come up. And it will be like I said before about my ex who cheated on me. When I figured that out, it's like I could feel this like going, and then just like noticing how uncomfortable that is, and then seeing like, why are you doing this? Why are you hurting yourself? There's a saying, a coward dies 1,000 deaths and a brave man dies only once. It's because we keep reliving and punishing ourselves. So it's part of it is to actually acknowledge that this is happening, but then the other part is just enjoy, just be happy, just focus on your senses. And that's the problem with closed-eyed meditation, because then many times we're so into our senses that it can be difficult to be aware of. I see Jethro saying, my neighbor's cat started crying outside the window 1 minute into the meditation, so I dropped my feelings of frustration and let the cat in. No meditation for me, but I have gained a cat on my lap. Well, that's nice. I think I've said this before, but I was at a center with a teacher who liked to distract his students. So he would go around and he'd spray them in the face with a water spray, like one of those you spray flowers. He'd go around and like bang buckets and put on weird loud radio stations and just go around and like have a feather on people and just really try to annoy people. And the whole idea is that you don't. So when you hear the cat crying outside, I mean, obviously if the cat needs to be let in, then just let it in. Like, don't cause pain to the cat or put it in any kind of danger. But it can also be a really good practice to sit with the feeling of, oh, the cat is crying. Oh, I need, because this distortion, what it is it pushes you to move. It pushes you to do something. So you hear the sound, you feel the uncomfortableness, and that uncomfortableness makes you get up and go and open the door. What would life be like without that distortion? You would sit still, you would hear the cat, there would be no reaction, and you could hear the sound and you'd say either, okay, you know what, it's raining really bad, I'm going to open the door for the cat. Or you're saying, it's perfectly fine, the cat can be outside another 10 minutes. It's just a crybaby, so I'm going to keep on sitting. It's just a choice. You choose, but there's not this pushing and pulling, because the reason you opened the cat could have been because your neighbor gave you a guilt trip because you didn't let them in before. In other words, your neighbor is controlling you. Or it could be because when you were a child, something happened to your cat and you believe if I don't let cats in, they're going to die. In other words, an old distortion is controlling your life today. Why? If you're living in a neighborhood where it's perfectly safe for the cat, just let it stay outside. Or if you're not, then let it in. And if you did let it in and you're now feeling bad because you let it in, then just like, why would you make yourself feel bad? That just happened. And now you're sitting with a cute cat in your lap, and just keep on sitting with the cat. And you can meditate with the cat. It's like we have this idea that reality needs to happen a certain way for us to enjoy being here. I'm not saying Jethro is doing this, but it would be very easy to say, okay, I sat down to have a meditation. I didn't get the meditation, so now reality is less than it should have been if I would have gotten the meditation. There's all these ideas we have, like, unless this happens, then I'm not going to allow myself to be happy. I'm not going to allow myself to enjoy being here because this didn't happen. But if that happens, then I will allow myself to feel happy. And when you start thinking about time and all of this, it's interesting because you're happy, you're choosing to not be happy now, but you're waiting for now in the future when you're going to say, like, these circumstances change enough, so now I'm going to allow myself to be happy. But it's still going to be now. It's still just the same now. There's no movement in now. It's just here. And if you wait with enjoying being here and appreciating being here in your senses, when are you going to do it? Another now in the future? If you do, then it's also going to be now. It's going to be another now in the future. But it's still this now that is just constantly evolving, constantly things happening. And when you start thinking about it like that, that also tends to take away some of this pressure that, oh, wait a minute, I can just feel fulfilled. I can allow myself to be happy just being here. Jeff, let's see. Mindful Mama, thank you so much for this. Good night, everyone. Good night. Nice to have you here. Jethro is saying, good point. I suppose I could have let it be. Yeah, I'm not saying you should have. I don't tell people what to do. I'm just showing people why they do things the way they do. And then help people make choices, not because of their past conditioning or because what someone else told them, but because of what you want to do. And if you love cats and you like cats to be comfortable and not be outside, and maybe you actually like cuddling with a cat, then just let the cat in. It's not about what you do, it's about how you relate to what we do. But I try to help people not take action from distortion, because that generally tends to not be good. It also tends to keep you exactly where you are. Mats, thanks, Mindful Mama, very kind of you. Have a good night. Nadia, Mindful Mama, good night. Yeah, everyone's going to bed. That's nice. It's I talk too much. Did that I think I was talking about Mats. Did I answer Mats' question, or did I think I tied that into Jethro's statement because it was not a question. Thanks for the meditation advice. You're welcome, Mats. Good. I think this is a perfect time to finish the meditation. And we can all get a really nice night's sleep. And we'll see each other again on Thursday. And throughout the week, I should start pushing more about this. This is one, like I said, one of the main things I do when I work with someone is help people enjoy being alive. Just enjoy, not your story, not the things happening to you, the things of how you believe reality should be, but just experiencing your senses, just being here, just focusing on that. Throughout the week, bring yourself to that enjoyment, that happiness, And that appreciation of your senses, not of the story, not of oh, I'm so happy I'm here because this happened to me, I'm so grateful. No, just walk around and really look like we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Really feel the air feels different here. It tastes different. There's a different sound. There's a different smell. Really be aware and enjoy what you're experiencing. That's one of the main differences between what I teach and classical Buddhism, which basically says, just observe and let it be. We don't touch anything. We just let it be there. And I've said the story before that when I started changing, that was when I went to Plum Village, and they focused so heavily on enjoying. Unfortunately, they didn't focus so much on meditation, so they didn't have the awareness to then put the enjoyment in there. So throughout the week, do that, and my daughter has fallen asleep. Oh, that's nice, Nadia. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you, Martin. I am learning a lot from you about how you can think. Nice. Happy to hear that, Andreas. Sleep well, everyone, and I'll see you on Thursday.